Samsara swapna tulyo hi ragadveshadi sankulaha svakale satyavat bhati prabodhe satya sadbhavet. Samsaraha, the world, swapno tulyaha, like a dream, hi, verily, ragadveshadi sankulaha, full of attachments, aversions, etc. Svakale, in its duration. Satyavat, to be real. Bhati, appears. Prabodhye sati, when awake. Asat, unreal. Bhave, appears. The world, filled with attachments, aversions, and the rest, is like a dream. It appears to be real as long as one is ignorant, but is seen as unreal when awake.
Namaste. So, the world is like a dream. No, it actually is a dream. In a dream, like we experience every night, people, places, and things and actions appear and disappear without rhyme or reason. And in the dream, we accept it as normal. In fact, it even feels familiar. Such and such a place, all these different people. But if we remember after we awake, none of them are real, recognizable, verifiable. They are all just a temporary play, like a TV show or movie. It comes on the screen, and for a few minutes, it presents all these scenes and actions and people as real. But then the show is over, and they all disappear. So, in the same way, the world is like that. Maybe it operates on a longer time scale, or maybe there's more connectivity between the different scenes, more continuity, as the filmmakers term it, where the person in one scene and the next scene are in the same costume, the same state, the same mood, and so on. That's called continuity in filmmaking. So in the dream of the world, we also see good continuity. That when we wake up in the morning, everything is still in the same place as it was when we went to sleep at night. That is, unless your pet cat has been throwing things off the table, which, can happen. But the point is that it's all temporary. If it's temporary, that means it's illusory. And if it's illusory, that means we are seeing it because of ignorance. Ignorance means not knowing things as they are. As they really are, that which exists is permanent, stable, unchanging. And the only thing we know of that is like that is our consciousness. Consciousness remains through waking, through dreaming, even through deep sleep. And when we wake up the next morning, it's still there. Even though in deep sleep there are no objects, there is no mind. So there's no name and form. We don't remember anything because there's nothing there. But we remember that we were in that state. Because when we get up in the morning, we say, oh, I slept so well. I had such a nice sleep. This is called the Anandamaya. Anandamaya means the fifth sheath surrounding the living being. And this is congruent with Sushupti consciousness, deep sleep, dreamless sleep. where there are no objects to be conscious of, but we are still conscious. So this is the clue that leads to knowledge. Now, I'm not talking about Brahma Vidya, academic, verbal, scriptural, symbolic knowledge. I'm talking about Brahma Jnana, realizing Brahman. That, look, I am conscious throughout all these different changes, even of my consciousness. What to speak of the world and the mind and the senses? They're all changing constantly. But even the world that seems to have continuity, that seems to have reality, if we look on a long basis, a long time scale, we can see that everything is changing. For a while, two countries will seem to be allies and friends, and then something will happen and it'll change, and now they're enemies or competitors. Same with people. Even the people in one's own family can make plots and conspiracies and turn into enemies. What to speak of friends on the outside. All this is temporary, coming and going, like the phases of the moon. But even though the moon goes through different phases, the moon is always there. Similarly, the changes in the material world, the senses and the mind, may come and go, but the consciousness is there always as the substratum upon which these other things are overlaid, superimposed, adhyasa. That is the nature of our experience. We have as a basis, as a substrate, the turiya consciousness, the awareness of awareness, consciousness of consciousness, knowledge that we are aware. Now, as far as what we are aware of, that is always changing. That is the superimposition. So it's temporary. It is not the real nature of the being, the Atman. Our real nature is that we are always aware of being aware, isn't it? Even if there's nothing to be aware of, as in Sushupti. So Sushupti is simply the same thing as Samadhi, but covered by ignorance. When one enters Sushupti, but with awareness, deliberately by will, that is deep meditation, Samadhi, where there's no object. Ordinary meditation has an object, like a mantra, a deity, an energy flow, or something of that nature, to concentrate the mind. But that is just preliminary. Once concentration is achieved, one begins the process of neti. Whatever comes into the awareness, one rejects it. And the next thing, you reject that, and the next, etc. Until there's nothing left. Then that is our real nature. That is Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Vikalpa means the objects and changes of the mind. So when those finally disappear and leaving the mind totally concentrated, but without an object, that is Samadhi. That is almost Brahman realization. What's missing? Only the identification of self as Brahman. Aham Brahmasmi. When coupled with that state, when the mind is completely pure, meaning empty, where there are no objects, but consciousness remains, then one more step, aham brahmasmi, and you're there.
Tat Sat, Om Shakti Om.